Everybody talks about getting lean, but here's the question no one is answering honestly. How long does it actually take you to go from 30% body fat down to 15% body fat? You've seen the TikToks, the 30-day shreds, the 6-week to ab challenges. It's all garbage. And the truth, it's harder and it takes longer than most people are willing to tell you. But it's way more doable than you think if you know the exact formula to follow. So today I'm gonna break down all the things you need to know step by step, the timeline, the math, and the no BS truth nobody else is telling you. Stick with me because if you're sitting at 30% body fat right now, this will change everything. And at the end, I'll give you the exact math behind how many months it will take you personally based on your starting point. The first thing you need to do is you need to have acceptance. Here's the truth. You probably have more fat to lose than you think. I remember when I first started competing in bodybuilding, I thought I would have to lose about 20 pounds in order to get stage ready. And my coach at the time was like, I don't know, Trent, I think you might have to lose a little more. I was pretty much in shape at this time. I was fit, I lifted weights, but I never competed. In order for me to compete, I had to lose 38 pounds in 16 weeks. And granted, I wasn't an overweight dude. I was already in shape, like I literally had abs. But in order for me to get stage ready, I had to drop 38 pounds. I thought I had to drop 20. So odds are you're probably in the same boat. Maybe you think, oh, I'll need to knock off 10 pounds or 15 pounds. But the truth is you might have more weight than that to lose than you think. The only difference is you just accepted a lower standard. And so you probably have more fat to lose on your body. Most people say I just need to drop 20. Reality, it might be closer to 40. But at the end of the day, you can't just guess. You need to know exactly where you're starting off at. So first thing, you have to accept and find your actual body fat percentage. The gold standard to find your true body fat percentage right now is either using a DEXA scan or an accurate in-body scan. If you don't have access to these, what I want you to do is use an online body fat calculator. So DEXA scans are my favorite way to get your body fat checked. And typically I'll recommend people getting DEXA scans maybe once or twice a year to really check where your body fat is at. You can also use an in-body. A lot of gyms have these. Body fat measurements are not 100% accurate. So I don't recommend tracking this on like a weekly basis. But what these body fat measurements are going to do is they will give you a starting point so you know exactly where you're starting off at and you could track how you're progressing over time. If you don't have access to a DEXA scan or an in-body scan, the easiest thing to do is use an online body fat calculator. So you could literally just Google how to calculate your body fat percentage and it's going to give you a rough estimate. Another thing that I like doing is comparing yourself to a body fat chart with pictures. So what you can do is you can actually Google body fat chart men, body fat chart women, and it will show you estimated body fats at different percentages. And you could look at the pictures and compare yourself to people at 20% body fat or 25% body fat or 35% body fat, and you can estimate which category you find yourself falling into. A new way to track your body fat percentage, and this is actually something I've done with my clients a lot, is just ask ChatGPT. Take a progress photo of yourself, put it yourself into ChatGPT, and it will actually estimate what your body fat percentage is right now. You can even type in, I'm 5'10", 200 pounds, I have a 38 waist, my neck is 16 inches, hips 40 inches. What's my estimated body fat? And it's gonna give you a pretty close estimate, which is really cool. But the truth is, a lot of people are afraid to do this. They're afraid to find their body fat percentage. They're afraid to step on the scale, and they would rather just estimate. And most of the people I talk to, I'm like, how much do you weigh? And they're not working out. They don't know how much they weigh because they don't want to accept the reality, because your scale weight and your body fat percentage will tell you everything you need to know about where you're starting off at. Step on the scale, grab your measurements, run the numbers, take the starting pictures, and accept where you're at right now, because you cannot change what you won't face. And once you face it, you can realize it's time to make this change right now. Next is you have to get disciplined. Motivation will not get you to 15% body fat. It's going to be a long road ahead of you, especially if you're 30%, 35%, 40%. Discipline will. What discipline is where you say no when everyone else is saying yes. Discipline is tracking your meals when you don't feel like it. Discipline is showing up to the gym when you'd rather stay home. Motivation is a feeling, but discipline is a decision. Discipline requires conviction. And if you don't build discipline, you will quit before you even hit your goal. And the thing with discipline is when you're on this path of dropping body fat, you're going to have weeks where you don't lose weight. You're going to have weeks where you feel like it's not working. You're going to have weeks where you're like, is this even worth it in the long run? And you're going to doubt yourself. You might even fail at times. But when you have discipline, you show up even despite those feelings that you have. Because the difference between motivation and discipline is motivation is external, based on things you see. Discipline is internal, based on your internal beliefs. So the person that is relying on motivation, they're only motivated when they see the scale changing, or they're only motivated when they see their body fat percentage dropping. The person who is disciplined still shows up for themselves despite seeing the scale change every week, despite feeling like their body fat percentage is shifting. That's the difference right there. Next is you have to build consistency on this journey of going from 35% body fat all the way down to 15% body fat, because you're gonna mess up, period. You're human. So am I. I mess up. I'm not perfect, but I am consistent. You'll miss a workout. You'll overeat. You'll feel like you absolutely blew it. But the problem isn't the mistake that you made. It's letting your one mistake turn into 2 mistakes, then 3. So the person who falls off track isn't the one who has a bad day of eating. They're the one who has a bad day of eating and allows that one bad day to turn into 2 bad days to turn into a week. What's the golden rule? The golden rule is to never mess up twice in a row. This is what I like to call the 2x2 rule. So if I sleep in and hit the snooze button, I'm never gonna hit the snooze button the next day. If I miss a workout, I refuse to miss the next workout. If I miss a cardio session or I miss 10K steps, I'm not gonna miss it the next day. And this helps you build consistency, not perfection. And consistency will beat perfection every single day of the week. The true way to a low body fat percentage is staying in the game. Most people, when they're trying to drop from 30% body fat down to 15% body fat, they can't stick with anything more long term. So your goal is to outlast those people. Your goal is to commit for the long term. That's how you win. Unfortunately, most of us have been lied to when it comes down to getting lean. When you go to the grocery store aisle and you pull up the fitness magazines, you'll see on the cover like, this person lost 20 pounds in 30 days, or like, this new medication helped this person lose belly fat in 2 weeks, or you'll see the challenge, 21-day challenge to help you do this. Don't listen to that stuff. But what's crazy is we've been programmed to think that is normal. So when you're on your fat loss journey and you're not seeing results that are as quickly as the results you see on the magazine, you think what you're doing is not working. So what's important is setting the right expectations on your journey from 30% body fat down to 15% body fat. Understanding that you're not going to see your abs in 30 days. You might not even see your abs in 3 months. Understanding that your belly fat won't vanish in 2 weeks. Understanding that if you're lifting weights and you're trying to get stronger, your bench is not going to skyrocket by 50 pounds in 8 weeks, or your arms won't magically pop in 2 months. That's not going to happen. It will take longer than you expect. Think about anything big you've accomplished in your life, whether it is getting married, whether it's a promotion at work, whether it's hitting a big milestone in your life. Anything big that you've ever accomplished in life probably took longer than you expected, right? So why would you expect your fitness goals not to be the same? When I look back at my life and everything I've ever accomplished, every time I set a goal, pretty much every time, it took longer than I initially thought. And it actually required more work than I initially thought. And the main reason why people lose motivation on this fitness journey thing is because they expect their results to be quicker than they actually are. And if I'm being real, my physique was not built in weeks or even months. My physique and what you see today was built in the span of years. So are you willing to commit for years to get the body of your dreams? Unfortunately, most people are not. So here's what you can expect though if you're on a fat loss journey. Within your first week or 2, you should experience scale changes if you're on the right program. By week 3 to week 4, you're going to notice that your lifts start to improve. And so you're getting stronger. You're like, oh, okay, I added some more weight to the bar. I added some more dumbbells. Sweet, awesome. By your week 5 to week 6 of being on plan, you'll notice that your clothes start fitting looser. You're like, okay, cool. I got some room in my pants, or sweet, my shirt's starting to change a little bit. When you really start to notice the changes is when your friends, family, and coworkers start noticing. So they're like, oh, you look good. What have you been doing? You're on a diet? You're doing the new workouts? So once you start getting those compliments, that's when you know you are on the right track. And now the compliments aren't just some pat on the back thing to make you feel good, but it's just a sign that you're moving in the right direction. So how quickly should you be losing weight and dropping body fat in the first place? My formula that I use with my clients is very simple. Typically, I will have my clients lose about 0.5 to 1% of their overall body weight per week. And so what this means is, let's say you're starting at 250 pounds, that's 1 to 2.5 pounds per week. Let's say you're starting at 300 pounds, that's going to be losing an average of 1.5 to 3 pounds per week. Now, you notice I say average. So what that also means is you're not going to just lose 1 pound per week every single week on the dot. You will have weeks where the scale doesn't change. You might even have a week or 2 weeks where you gain weight despite dieting perfectly and hitting your steps and doing your workouts. The difference is, what I like to look at is how much weight are you losing per month, not how much weight are you losing per week. So if you are at 200 pounds, then our goal is losing about 4 to 8 pounds per month. If the scale stays the same for 2 weeks, but then the third week you drop 3 pounds, sweet, that means we're on the right track. Now, when it comes to body fat reduction targets, Our goal is to lose 1 to 3% of your body fat per month. So what that means is if you're going from 30% body fat all the way down to 15% body fat, then that will take you about 6 to 12 months to do so. And that's the truth. There's no shortcuts. The reason why you don't want to lose weight faster than that is because if you do, then you run the risk of losing the precious muscle mass that you've built. And so our goal when we're dropping body fat is to maintain or even gain some lean muscle while in the fat loss phase. So if you've ever seen someone losing weight quicker than that, let's say someone started at 200 pounds and they lost 10 pounds in their first month, or they lost 20 pounds in 2 months, odds are a lot of the weight that they lost is not just fat, but it's also muscle. And so a lot of people that are taking these new weight loss drugs, they're not just losing body fat, but they're also losing muscle. So in my opinion, it's actually better and more effective to lose weight at a steady, slower pace than at a quick, rapid pace. Another thing that happens is we're finding that people who lose weight faster have a higher risk of regaining the weight back that they lost. And people who lose weight slower have a lower risk of regaining the weight back that they lost. So for me, when I'm coaching, I'm like, I would rather you lose weight slower and keep it off than lose weight fast and regain it back. And the truth is there's no shortcuts to this thing. There's no magic supplements. It's just time, effort, and consistency. Now, you might be starting at 30% body fat, 35% body fat, 45% body fat. But what's important is understanding how long it's actually going to take you to get down to that ideal body fat percentage you want to be. And the reason why 15% body fat is an ideal body fat for men, and I would say about 20% body fat would be an ideal body fat for women, is typically that's where you're going to see your abs. And most people are looking to have the defined midsection. And so men statistically are going to have a lower body fat percentage just because of how we're built. Women statistically will have a higher body fat percentage. So I would say for women, the goal is shooting for anywhere from 20 to 25%. Men, the goal will be shooting for 15 to 20%. If you shoot for 15 to 17%, that's going to be a really good body fat for men to hang out around. Now, going below 15% for men and going below, I would say 18 to 20% for women, this is where you will run the risk of having some health issues. So maybe you'll have your metabolism might slow down at that low body fat. You might have hormonal changes. So like men might have a drop in testosterone. You might have changes to your mood. You might have a risk of losing that muscle mass. So that's why I really believe that for men, around 15% is good. For women, around 20% is a really solid place to be when you're looking for that optimal ideal body fat. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what you prefer. If you are at 17% body fat for men and you feel great, you feel strong, you have energy, but at 15% body fat, you don't have energy, then 15% body fat is probably not the best body fat for you. So you have to not only take into consideration how you're going to look at that body fat, but you also want to consider how you're going to feel at that body fat. Here's what I want you to understand. There is no rush. There will be people who lose weight faster than you. There will be people who progress quicker than you. But at the end of the day, are you getting better every single day? Unless you're prepping for a photo shoot or a bodybuilding show, there is literally zero reason to starve yourself or crash diet to get to your ideal body fat. It's going to take time. And at the end of the day, once you get to your ideal body fat percentage, you're honestly not going to care how long it takes to get there. You just care that you got there. The only way that you fail on this journey is if you quit too soon. Your issue isn't commitment, it's setting unrealistic expectations. So fix your expectations and you'll finally see the results that you want. And if you want me to personally help you dial in your nutrition without restrictive dieting, what I want you to do is fill out the link in the description below for coaching, and I'll reach out directly to you to see if I can help.